hello everyone, and welcome to today's Ask the Expert show. Hold on to your hat because you are in for a treat. We are talking about finding love after 60 today. Romantic relationships that make us feel good, that, where we receive those loving touches and lingering kisses, it actually protects our brain. We are able to release oxytocin, that love hormone, which helps reduce stress, depression, and builds our resiliency. And here's the big one, and it boosts neurogenesis. So loving relationships actually helps us create new brain cells. And here to help us find love and experience all that juiciness today is Lisa Copeland. Lisa is an internationally recognized love coach and dating expert for women over 50. She's a best-selling author and a contributor to the Huffington Post. Lisa, welcome today.
Hi, Natalie. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, we have been really looking forward to this for a long time. So to get us started, I thought it would be good to begin with you just giving us the lay of the land with what it's like dating over 60 versus maybe when we were in our 20s.
Sure. I think the biggest difference is in our 20s, we were actually looking for a partner to have a baby with. Whether you had one or not, the clock is ticking. It's very chemistry oriented. It's survival of the fittest oriented. And then when you come together, you build a life together. You start the two of you, then you probably get the car, the dog, the house, the kids. And then, this is the main thing when you're in your 20s, and looking for cute guys is like the biggest, the biggest thing that you're looking for at those ages. Come to your 50s, 60s, or 70s, your reason for being out there dating is not the same, but women have a tendency, men too, to go and date like they did in their 20s, looking for the intense chemistry and initial physical attraction. The thing is everybody's hormonal levels have shifted, as we've aged. And it's good to have physical attraction, but that can happen over time. And your goals are different. You want someone to play with, someone to have company, companionships, having that person at the end of the day who has your back and you have their back. It's not about creating, that lifestyle like you did in your 20s when you grew together into the family situation. So in your 60s, it's actually more fun. It can be more fun, more play. And because it's not geared to children anymore. It's geared to enjoying this part of life. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah, because I'm thinking back when I got married in my early 20s, and that was what it was all about. Like, who am I attracted to? And this building phase of life. And I love how you're bringing out, like, now we get to really think about what's going to bring us enjoyment and fun.
Right. It's totally about joy and pleasure. And that is what your life should be like anyway in your 60s. As you're winding down the work time, you want it to be a time of play, and a time of just enjoying life. Yeah, many women make dating a chore during this time.
Yeah, and that it can, like, I got divorced in my mid-30s, and I gotta say, Lisa, I was not prepared for the dating world. Like, being in a longer marriage, I just felt like it was stressful. It was not fun. It was not pleasant. And I'm wondering what would help our audience to feel better prepared to get out in the dating world.
Okay, that's a great question. I think in your 30s, still hormones really affect, dating. And it's a lot about hooking up and setting boundaries and all of that. In your 60s, men will still try. They will, but it's more your hormones aren't driving you like they are in your 30s. Okay. So your question was, is it how to make this more fun at this time, or what to do?
Yeah, like a lot of my clients that I coach, they have expressed how it can feel stressful, like whether it's going on a date and who pays, or maybe you're not feeling attracted to this person. How do you let them down? This kind of stuff.
Okay, well, that's really broad. So we'll, we'll start with the first thing you want to do when you're going to date. Number one, you want to heal from a relationship. Because a
Mm.
lot of people, what they do is they go, I'm out of a relationship, I'm lonely, I miss someone. It's very hard for them to be alone. And because they haven't been alone in a long time. And it's really, you want to rebuild your own life first and also do the grief thing. Because even if you initiate the relationship, it is an ending, and you still have to go through the phases of ending, which include, things like anger, denial, guilt, all of that. And you do want to grieve, because if you don't, all you will do is reattract the same issues you just got out of. That's number one. Number two is you really want to come from a place of you are amazing right where you are. So what happens is we look in the mirror, especially as we're aging, and we go, oh, God, I don't weigh the same. I've gone through menopause. My body's changed. Who's going to love me? Well, here's a big news flash. Men's bodies have changed too.
Right on.
Well, we forget that because we're so busy focusing on everything that's wrong with us. And yet men don't pick us apart. They either love you for who you are or like you for who you are, or they don't, or they're not going to come forward. So men that do initiate contact with you, for example, on a dating site, or talk with you, in real life, and it goes somewhere, it's because they like how you look. And a lot of women say to me, oh, but don't men just like younger women? So a lot of men will come out into the dating world and try a younger woman, at least on their profile. Like, it's really funny when you see 60-year-old men saying, I want someone 25 to 45. And that the thing is most younger women, unless they have daddy issues, or unless this guy's really wealthy, it's like dating their father or their grandfather. They don't want to do that. So what happens is men try it out, and then they come back and they think, you know what? I don't have anything in common. I don't know their music. They don't know my music. We didn't share the same history as we were growing up. And that history thing is really huge, really huge. You look like you were going to say something there, Natalie, as you
Yeah.
nodded.
Oh, I love this. I feel like you're so right on with how the men get out there and they try to look for, maybe test drive a younger person, and that's just, it's not going to really mesh well. But yeah, if we just kind of go out there feeling like I'm amazing and focusing on our strengths instead of picking ourselves apart, like you said, we're going to be projecting that attractiveness out into the world.
Right, because you can only attract from where you're at, your feelings about yourself. So if you're feeling I'm not enough, maybe I'm not enough, well, okay, maybe I'm sort of enough. You're going to attract guys in that don't feel enough either. And that's not what you want. You want to bring in somebody emotionally healthy who feels good about themselves too.
Mm. Yeah, I was talking to my husband and about this very thing, like how can women possibly compete with younger women, or how everything is so image driven these days.
Yes.
And I love what he shared with me. He said, they just have to be available. Like, those are fantasies. Like, guys, for the most part, no, they can't have that. But if you're making yourself available, you're smiling, like, that's going to be good to attract a man.
Yeah, exactly. And also understanding men is really important. So women, like myself, we grew up in an age of women's lib, where I am woman, let me roar. And it was good because really, if you look in the 50s, women just really, they still couldn't get a credit card. They couldn't have jobs. It was rare that you found like a female doctor, any of these things. So it brought that to, that it brought out that women really do offer a lot, and they don't have to just be at home baking and taking care of kids. And what it did, but on the other side, what it did was women took on a masculine side, and they lost that softer side that men are so attracted to. And men love intelligent, smart women. Emotionally, now when I say this, emotionally healthy men love intelligent, smart women. But what they don't want is to be told how to do something, when to do it, where to do it, why to do it, and then be criticized for whatever
Oh
they
my gosh.
do. Does it sound familiar?
Oh my gosh, I have to watch out for that. Yeah. So gosh, that is so beautiful how you're bringing that out, like how we've gotten so into our masculine, which is, it's got a lot of positives to it. It helped us, get a lot more independence and achievements as far as our being female, but at the same time, that softness, that femininity, like bringing that back, like how would you suggest a woman maybe reconnect with that feminine energy?
That's a good question. So the biggest thing about that is just learning to receive again and learning to let a man give to you, because men really are, emotionally healthy men again, are very not narcissists, which we are very much attracted to, believe it or not. But emotionally healthy men, they are very much wired to make you happy. They really, it makes them feel good about themselves, to take some of that load off your shoulders and to really make your day and your life easier. And what we do as women is, when a man says, let me help you with that, we say, I can get it, because we think it's weak to receive. And it's actually very strong. And then you got the cooperation of a man. This is what we forgot to do. But when we came into our masculine side, we began to compete with men. And when you're coming from your masculine side, men are not going to protect you. They think, okay, you've got this. You're like a man. I don't need to worry about you. When you're in your feminine side, you're not a doormat. But receiving is powerful, because men will have your back. Letting them help you will have your back.
Hmm. Lisa, what I'm hearing, I guess from a coach point of view, like this sounds like actually dating is a great opportunity for personal growth.
Oh, yeah.
Like learning to receive, like that could be challenging for some ladies.
Most of my clients, they say, it's so hard, because when you've had to be strong for a long time, you forget how to let others give to you. And when we come to the table of love, each of us comes with our strengths. Men come with that logical left side brain. And it's not that we don't, we do, but that is men's strength.
Hmm.
Our strength and our equality in the relationship. People think, oh, we have to be equal. We are equal, but not in the same way equal. Like, who the heck wants to really take out the garbage if they don't have to? And let the guy do it if he wants to, because it makes him happy to make your life easier. But anyway, our strength comes from our heart and our vulnerability. Because when we're vulnerable and we let a man help us, number one, it makes him feel amazing. It really does. He feels so masculine. And that's what brings you into your feminine side. And that's what gives you strength in the relationship. Not lying down like a doormat, but giving strength, because you have someone that will step up for you and be there for you, because you allow.
That is so beautiful, Lisa. Yes, yeah, just being opening up in that way. It's just lovely. Uh, and like you mentioned earlier about like the two things, like the first, like if you were to give advice for like how to be prepared, it's heal yourself before you begin a relationship, and then know that you're amazing. And I've had clients that I've worked with express that to me, that lack of confidence. Maybe they've been out of practice for a while. Um, how would you, or how do you coach your clients to build up their confidence?
Well, I think it's more than just their own confidence. I mean, I do help them get in touch with how amazing they are. I do help them break through limiting beliefs of I'm not enough, or maybe no one will like me, or even a protection. Limiting beliefs are protection, but they don't really protect you. They stall you out. Or maybe even like men might not like me, or there's not enough men out there, or only yucky men are out there, or whatever. So in the dating world, the confidence comes from doing that deeper work. It also comes from, I mentioned having your confidence in place, understanding men. And it also comes from having a clear vision of who you want. Because most women truly go out there and date like they did in their 20s, like I said, and they're looking for the wrong things. If they don't feel the zing in their body, which is just the hormone oxytocin being released, if they don't feel that, they say no by the time their coffee's done. But the thing is I encourage women to go out there and to, if a guy is really nice, go out with them again. Because for us as women, we don't have to have instant chemistry. Chemistry can build for us, and attraction, and that's actually healthier. So why have a clear vision of the right man? That is going to empower you. You get to choose then how a man fits into your life. Because at this age, the other cool thing is men can be friends. If they're not a romantic interest, make them a friend, because then you're around male energy on a night you don't have a date, or if you just want to hang. It also helps you practice that side of receiving. But if you're friends, you do need to pay. Don't expect a man to pay for you when you're friends.
Okay.
You could be friends with benefits. And I don't recommend this because of that oxytocin hormone, as every time you have sex with a man, you can stay bonded for up to 3 weeks. A man can stay bonded about 35 minutes to you. It's why he could be with someone in the morning, not an over 60s guy with this, but like younger guys could be with someone in the morning and have sex again at night, because they don't have the bonding. And what happens is when you're friends with benefits, you are, your heart is bonding, because we bond through making love, and your heart is bonding. And then he comes in one day, he says, well, guess what? I met my forever person. And you could be devastated because you fell in love and you thought he was too, but men are not built like we are. So that is really important. The other relationship you can have is just a boyfriend, a companion, someone to hang out with, enjoy maybe traveling or going to movies or dinner. You can also have a long-term committed relationship, living together or living apart. And you can have marriage. When you were in your 20s, it was really about marriage. I mean, I think with this generation, some of that is changing, of young kids. But when we were growing up, not you, Natalie, you're young, but when we were growing up, it was definitely about, heading to that marriage altar. So that is really huge. One is you can feel empowered by you're on that date, instead of saying, does he like me? Am I okay? Do I look okay? I mean, even not looking at Zoom where you see yourself, you're still going, do I have a piece of hair sticking up?
Yes.
Is my shirt up right? All that kind of stuff. Instead of bending like a pretzel to prove you're worthy of him, he also needs to prove he is worthy of you. And this is part of the confidence thing, knowing that it's not about giving yourself up to get the guy. And what we do is we see this cute guy and we go, he's my everything. He's my type. You don't know anything about him other than he's cute. And he needs to prove to you that he's way more than cute. So this is what helps with that confidence. And then knowing how to navigate dating, whether it's online or in the real world. This will give you confidence as well, knowing how to flirt again, because forget. Or a lot of people forget knowing how to flirt, knowing how to navigate those dating sites safely, having a profile up there that really expresses who you are in 3 short and sweet paragraphs. And really coming from that place, all these kinds of tools help you feel that confidence of I'm enough and I get to make choice, because our confidence goes when we feel we have no choice.
Oh, so many good things that we can tease out of what you said, Lisa. Like that's really powerful, that that I have a choice, and coming into the dating scene with that in mind, like I'm choosing, like you're not going out there, like as you said, trying to bend over backwards to please somebody, that they've got to prove themselves to you. I feel like that's kind of a big reframe on this that could be powerful. Um, well,
It's a
since you
two-way street. It's a two-way street. You both
uh,
need to, you know,
yeah.
but usually what we did was we made the man the prize versus us being the prize, and we gave that power up.
Okay. And I can see how that could be protective too. So if we're going into it with that in mind, we're not going to get into situations or get bonded to someone that's not going to be good for us.
Mhm. And I think in over 60s dating, a lot of the issue is we're afraid to fail again.
Mm,
If we've been divorced, we're afraid we'll fail. We're at an age that like, oh my God, I can't, do this for 10 years and then I'll be on my own again. And the cycle of the story that goes, you might be on your own anyway again. Somebody can pass away. Let's get into reality here. So, and there's a lot of widows out there. And the issue with them is when they have have had a good marriage, subconsciously, they're constantly looking for their husband in a different body, and that holds them back. But this is something I work with clients to help them break past that, because yes, they had a good marriage, yes, they created their roles in the marriage, and now it's time to create what you want from today. And that can be really fun and exciting. And when they get into that mindset, they find they're able to attract a great guy. And when divorced women get into this mindset of they're not damaged because they had a divorce, it was just an ending, it just didn't work anymore, they get to move forward and they find men, attract men who are where they are now and want to be now. And
mm,
all of these things take the pressure. When you have pressure off of dating, when you have a dating plan with strategies, it's like anything you've done in life, you've had a plan for, but we have this illusion that we need to go out there and we should know what to do. And we don't. Trust me, it was painful before I knew what the heck I was doing. I cried a lot.
I
I
can relate.
was like, yeah, and why is this happening? Why am I not getting dates, second dates? I just didn't know what the freak I was doing. And that's why I love helping women and supporting them to know what they're doing so they feel good about themselves. And like you said earlier, women say to me, this has changed more than my life with dating. It's changed me. And I feel better about myself, and my relationships with other people are better. And that has nothing to do with getting the guy. It is about growth. Relationship, whether it's dating or in a relationship, is about your own growth.
I even hear like how you're even learning to love yourself more through this
Yeah.
process.
Mm-hmm.
And especially appreciate like what you're saying about really get clarity on the vision, like who is it you want to have and how do they fit into your life, and
Mm-hmm.
how that could give a lot of hope to women who maybe are widows or are afraid of failing, kind of
Mm-hmm.
reorient them.
Yeah. Yeah. And at this age, you can also have practice relationships, I call them. And you can have a relationship for 2.5, 3 years. And then you decide, you know what? I kind of want to be on my own again for a while, because we as women often really do like our space. And then, or the
Yeah.
relationship no longer works because you've done the work that you're supposed to do and you have another one. And when you have the tools to go back out there and to date, it's not this huge, oh my God, I got to go back online again. And online dating sucks. And online dating can be fun, but if you don't have the right profiles, you can end up attracting scammers.
Yeah. So tell us more about that, because I do know we've got a handful of people in our community that are online dating. What are some of the tricks of the trade there, or some of the inside scoop with
So it's really important to have a profile. Well, first of all, it's important to have really good pictures,
that? Okay.
because men are visual. They make a decision within 10 seconds. And I hate to put it this way, but it is, would I sleep with you? And then that's it. So they are definitely attracted to your picture or not. We pick everything apart with them, but they're like, I like her, how should her look, or I don't. He moves on. Okay. So pictures are the first thing that are so important. And women post really bad pictures. I mean, really bad pictures. I've seen
Oh,
I have one client, she posted pictures. I don't remember who the artist is, where the man and the woman are holding a pitchfork at a farm. It's a very famous picture. And I
amazing.
laughed. I said to her, I didn't laugh at her. And later on I told her after we worked together, this reminded me of that painting. She showed up with pictures. She had cowboy boots, jeans, like a long sleeve t-shirt, and really she could have had the pitchfork. Oh, and the boots were cowboy boots. So we worked on her confidence. We worked on getting her these tools. And when she went, she ended up starting to feel amazing about herself. She went and had makeup done. She changed her hair. She got some clothes that made her feel good. And then she ended up meeting her husband online, but it was because of the depth of them, not her physical appearance. But unfortunately, online, physical appearance is the immediate thing. It's why it's so much easier to meet people in real life, because you got someone's personality mixed in and they're a lot more attractive, especially if they don't take good pictures. So, but with online dating, so to stay safe. So you want to have great pictures. That's number one. Then you want to have a profile that reflects that, your confidence, that understanding of men, who you want. That is really important, because a lot of women go out, they put a profile up, it doesn't work, or it attracts a scammer, because it gives scammers certain clues in there, gives scammers oh, this person might work. If you talk about feeling lonely, if you talk about looking for your soulmate, if you talk about having a hole in your heart that you need to feel, if you talk about not having a life and that you want a guy to have that will fill your life, these are things that scammers go, I can do that. And they do. And that's how women get scammed.
Thank you for
So,
that wisdom there. That's good.
and your profile, that needs to reflect a little bit. And your profile should be short. It really should not be this long book. Leave things to talk about. A little about you, a little about what you're looking for, and then some kind of story that draws him in for, oh, this is us in the future. And you definitely want to express that feminine side of you. Men like that. They really, really do in that profile.
Yeah, that sounds really lovely. Like having a nice picture, I would think some of you smiling or
Mhm.
yeah. And then
Definitely. And looking at the camera.
gotcha. Yeah, because that's part of, yeah, like understanding men, as you were saying, like that's part of the attraction is our smile, I would think. They see our eyes,
Huge,
our smile.
huge, huge. Men love your smile. Do you want some tips for how to avoid scammers? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, thank you. Because actually I do have a person that had happened to, so I think it would be helpful. Yeah.
So I have some rules, Lisa's rules about when you first connect with men. Number one, 5 to 10 short emails. Don't get into an email or a phone relationship with someone. They should be short and they should be flirty and just fun. And then if he's not getting to the phone, you want to just say, you know what, it would be so much fun to put a voice to all these emails. Or if they ask you a heavy question or a big question, you can say, I'd love to answer them. Is it possible for us to speak? Now, the way I'm saying that leads him to know it's safe to talk on the phone. Whereas if you say, well, let's hop on the phone, you're being aggressive, because men still like to pursue. They really do. So your job is to lead him to know that it's safe, to contact you. On the phone, no more than one, maximum 2 calls. Keep them short and sweet, no more than like an hour. And get to that meet and greet within 2 weeks of initial contact. Because what happens is scammers get you very, very quickly to the phone. And then they start calling you and talking all the time. And when you're talking to someone all the time, you start bonding. And then they have a script. They find out what are your, I call them Achilles tendon. What are your weaknesses? So if you've lost a spouse, if you've lost a dog, if you've lost a child, if you're just having a crap day, they will relate to that. And then you will feel like, oh, this guy understands me. And then you're on the phone more with him. So don't get into a phone relationship. If he says, if he says I'm out of the country, I'm on an oil rig, I'm in the military, I think, but I'm sorry if I'm flashing. I don't know if it's happening, but where it's so much rain, it must be doing something to the
Oh, I
pen.
got, yeah. It's okay.
If he says any of the three of those, again, it's I'm out of the country, I'm in the military, or I'm on an oil rig. If he says any of those, you say, okay, well, when you get back in the area and you're here for a while, reach out again. Don't talk to people that are out of the country, in terms of starting a relationship, because that's what happens. And I was on Dr. Phil this year on it was all about scams, and women gave away $1 million. One woman sold her house because this guy had hooked her, and they will emotionally hook to you, and women don't feel like men get them. And when these scammers do, that's how they got you. And then what they'll start to do to set you up is they'll start to tell you about a business deal, or they can't get back to the United States. And remember, you're bonding with them. So you, as women, we want to help. We want to
Right.
help people. And then that's when they pull you in for the money.
Mm.
And you think, oh, I want to help him. I love him now. You
Yeah.
have illusion.
There it is. It sounds like really getting clear on your boundaries, like kind of like what we were talking about earlier. That's part of the strategy is having, like you said, Lisa's rules, like Lisa said. I mean, if you gotta like replay this and get those down, like, keep those phone calls short and sweet. No more, I think you said, than 1 to 2 phone calls
Yeah,
before.
max. About an hour at the most. You
Yeah.
just do not want to bond in those phone calls, because that his ability to weave in and understand you, because they psychologically know what they're doing. And we don't, especially if you're lonely. And this is like, oh, I love this attention. And he
Sure.
very rarely does an email unless they're pulling things off the internet, because they can't sustain the English language in writing. But we also fall in love. They often have English accents. And we as Americans really do like an English or an Australian accent. We think it's kind of sexy.
Yeah.
Oh, how did they? Good day, mate. But you're not a mate. Good day, mate. The Australians.
Yeah. I have one more question, and then if it's okay with you, I know we have a couple of people here live with us if they have a question, but I'm wondering, like, you gave us some pointers for online dating. What about those that want to meet someone organically? Like, how can they go about finding someone in a natural way in their everyday life?
That's a great question. So men are everywhere. It's learning how to talk to men and having no attachment to how it's going to turn out. A great place to meet men are meetups. Meetups have happy hours. They have walking groups that, are, both sexes. They have game nights. They sometimes trivia nights. These are great places to meet men, but you can also go with a friend to a restaurant, sit at the bar, only one friend. Men cannot interrupt into more than 2 women at a time. They
It's
feel a
true.
little, oh my God, they're a little intimidated by it. And just start talking to people around you, and no expectation. It's just the practice of talking to people you don't know. And so what I have clients do is make a list of A to Z. And for every letter, they find a place in their area to potentially meet men, because we stay in this little teeny area, like about 2 miles within us. But there are lots of ways. And when you're going in there, I think women's biggest fear is they'll be rejected. But when you're not going in there, when you're not going in there for the purpose necessarily of I have to meet the guy,
Mm.
and you're not putting high value on someone that looks hot or seems like your type because they really may not be, and they're just got good genes. They have to prove to you that they're worthy of you. When you do that, it can be just more fun. If you can, even in online dating, if you can get out of this, is he the one, and get into, I'm just meeting some new and interesting people and I get to figure out if they fit in my life or not. It's huge for taking that pressure off and having fun.
Yeah, I can feel how that would make such a world of a difference. Like, just see it as practice. It's a playground. Just
That's right.
experiment.
When we were like, I know I met my husband in my first husband in college. We didn't date. We hung out. We played, we played video games. We played, that kind of stuff. I never was thinking, is he going to be my children's father on a first date, which is kind of what we do now. We're thinking that clock is ticking.
Yeah.
I got to figure out if he's the one before my coffee or my glass of wine is done. No.
Hold the bus. Yeah. Like, let's
You
just
really
talk.
you really don't learn too much about people on a first date, and you don't want to do the resume questions. Do you have kids? What's your sign? What's your job? What you really want to do is try and ask questions that bring out history. That's what will connect you. Like, you could talk about childhoods, like, did your family take vacations when you were younger? Where'd you go? When you ask questions like this versus attack questions, what's your job? What's your I'm checking off
It's
my list.
masculine, by the way.
And you're checking off your list. But when you're asking questions that have them relate back to their history, it number one, you connect better. You also can get an idea of some values. Like, I remember when I first started dating, I went out with this guy and he claimed I was only like 46 and he claimed he was maybe 50. Okay. I said, do you remember where you were when John Kennedy? And I didn't even know what I was doing then. I wasn't a dating coach. I said, when John Kennedy was shot. And he goes, yeah. And I said, I was in third grade and we were supposed to have brownies and they canceled it. And all these people are crying. And I said, where were you? And he goes, I was working. And I said, wait a minute, you were working? I thought you would have only been 13. Bingo. He was lying about his age.
Oh
But
my
you don't want to do that to find out that people are lying. It happened by accident.
God. You sure did catch him red-handed, man.
But the sharing of the history is the point, the
Yeah.
point there. Or where were you when they landed on the moon? I was in camp. I remember I was in a camp and we got to watch TV at overnight camp. It was so cool. But that's a bonding thing.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be fun to have that kind of engagement about talking about your childhood or fun things you did when you were younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just to open up a few minutes here for Lisa, if anyone has a question, feel free to put it in the chat or something she shared that you would like to talk to her about.
That was so interesting, Lisa. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Stacey.
Taking so many notes.
Thank you. I love both your bookshelves or the shelves.
Oh, thank you.
I have them too. I love books. I read Kindle, but I love books.
Nice.
Another great topic for a date night. We'd be talking about favorite books,
Books. And the stuff they made you read in school that you will never use again, like Tale of Two Cities. Probably didn't have that, but we
No, I did. I'm in my late 40s, so yeah, I'm an 80s kid. But yeah, it's been such a great conversation because just thinking about what it was like for me and how daunting it was for me. And I know for others that they've expressed that to me, how overwhelming it can feel. And you really shared some good strategies to help take the pressure off.
I see there is a comment from Beth that they're laughing about their experience meeting online. That's so cool. It's really the greatest place to meet online because it has the most single men out there of anywhere else. It's like when you were in college or in high school, where everybody was single. And there are some married men on there. There are some scammers, but overall, it's the best place to meet men. I love that. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I kind of have a question that's coming up because I've definitely come across this just chatting with people or working with clients. Like when, especially in the online dating world, I mean, I'm a different generation, but I know I got online dating burnout and just feeling like deflated after meeting people and kind of getting your hopes up, and just it can be really exhausting. When do you ever recommend to clients like when to like take a time out on dating and sort of like retreat, or do you just sort of keep your hopes up and just try to keep your head up and keep going when love is important to you and you want to find love?
You have to take a break, because when you're burned out, you're coming from a place at that point of exhaustion with it. And you really have to get yourself back, and you really have to find, what do I love in life? Because it's your passions that men are drawn to as in a woman. And a lot of women give up their life when they get into a relationship. And then the man goes, who is this person? It's not the passionate woman I met. But yes, you definitely want to take a break. The other thing you do not want to do is hang out with friends that will say, online dating sucks. I haven't found anybody. Men suck. All this stuff. You don't want to get around that energy, because what it is they don't know next steps. So they're pulling you to their level. And consider getting a coach, because I have clients that were dating 5, 10, 20 years. Some weren't even dating all that time. Some were dating unsuccessfully. They were burned out, and they came to me, and it totally changed. A coach is going to give you a different perspective. A coach, because you're both coaches, they give you a second set of eyes on how to take how to take the next step. But definitely, until you get your energy back, just get back into yourself, and then you'll feel better going back out there. And if you have the tools, you feel better too. It makes it a lot easier having strategies. Can I answer your question, Stacey?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Because again, kind of coming back to what you were saying about you attract from where you're from. And if you're from this depleted, exhausted, sort of negative mindset state, you're not going to attract the right vibration, so to speak, in your partner.
Right. And you always want to remember the brain likes to be right. So the brain, whether it's right or not, will point evidence to make itself right. It's one of the reasons I encourage you not to get into anyone to get into Debbie Downer conversations about dating and men, because what you're doing is justifying your experience, and it actually keeps you stuck. It may feel good for 10 seconds, like, it's not just me. But in the long run, it will create self-doubt. It will create stagnation. It will keep you from going back when you're feeling better.
So interesting and so true.
Because you create a totally different world than what could be your brain could create a new world. Like, all right, I'm ready to go out there. Let's go meet some new and interesting men and see how much fun I could have.
Yeah, that could be just the mantra or the focus. Like, hey, let's just go out there and meet some interesting men and just have a good time doing it.
That's what I tell clients. And I also tell clients, a man does not reject you. You just don't fit the picture of who they think they want. And we do that too as women. When men don't fit the picture, it's not that we're rejecting them. They just don't fit the picture of who we want. We want someone different. So it's really important to remember that will save you a lot of heartache, because we reframe it to he rejected us, but he didn't.
Yeah.
It's his stuff.
You're one step closer to finding a better match. Yeah. So it's doing you a favor, actually, because you want someone who thinks you're the bee's knees. I mean, right? I mean,
how old are you again? I think that's what my grandparents said, the bee's knees.
brought in a little finger there, but yeah, like putting out that, like, that beacon, that signal, and that, I'm a lovable person, and believing that you're lovable and you've got something that you're passionate about. That's so attractive.
The vibration you put out there is so important because we don't realize that. We think it's like he's just looking at our looks, but even online, believe it or not, your vibration goes out there and it reflects in your picture, it reflects in your profile, and it's like a thing we don't realize that happens. If you're not feeling good about yourself, I guarantee men are not going to be attracted to you. They just won't, because they feel that. I know it sounds really weird, and they will not consciously feel it. It's just a thing, it just comes, and it shows in your pictures.
Yeah.
To me, that sounds like the best like way to be radiant at whatever age and stage you're in life, that you can have this inner radiance that just shines through. And
We
it's
forget
all,
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We forget that because of the media, and they Photoshop everybody and everything. And what's been great is older actresses are really just staying themselves. They may get some injectables, but they're not doing facelifts, a lot of them, and they're openly talking about it. And that will also help, because we compare ourselves to these Photoshop younger women, and they don't even have those bodies and faces. They're all changed. But it's your heart, it's feeling good about yourself, it's smiling, it's really enjoying life is what men are attracted to. And being there and really understanding how that male mind ticks, because men, if you get them, they will just love you for it and do anything. It's worth it learning about them.
so I guess just to pull out something you said today, a way to understand like how men communicate or to get them is they want a woman who knows how to receive and who has that openness that, oh, let him get the door for you, or let him carry the bag or whatnot.
Yeah, I call them the 4 magic words. I need your help. It's not, could you help me? That sounds like his mother. I need your help. And that's what they want to do. They really do want to make your life easier. They're much simpler. They're amazing. They're fun if we don't complicate them. That's on our side, because we do. And they are not going to tell you their emotions today. They will tell you what they think, but they will be there for your emotions to help you. Emotionally healthy men.
Yeah.
Stacey, is there anything that on your mind or heart before we close today? Maybe something you're taking away from our conversation?
I mean, there are so many nuggets. I'm looking through sort of what I highlighted. I think one of my favorite things was just when you said how chemistry can build for us as women over time, and that it's not that immediate reaction. Because I had kind of heard this from someone else who is in the dating coach world, and she kind of talked about how we tend to associate that feeling of anxiety or like aroused emotion with attraction, but really it's that's often the wrong type of person for you. There's that fear that they're going to leave you, so kind of meeting the right person is more that feeling of like relaxation and being home and being like you can open up and be yourself. And so, yeah, I love sort of that you said like chemistry can build for us over time, because I have been experiencing that. The more you get to know someone and their true personality, it's like you just get more attracted over time versus other relationships where it kind of goes in the opposite direction.
There's a whole reason why we choose the people we choose, and that chemistry, that would be something for a whole other time. But it really is about healing, and you will feel the most at home with that person you have this instant chemistry with, because you've lived with someone that has, it goes back usually to family of origin, and you've lived with whatever it is, whether it's emotionally unavailable, abandonment, all these things. You'll choose the same guy. It's like this beacon, because that's who feels the most comfortable to you, but it doesn't mean they're good for you anymore. And when you have hot chemistry, you have a tendency to trust people that aren't necessarily trustable.
Yeah.
So, because it really does cloud you. And that's why it's good to have it grow.
Yeah.
Really good.
Beautiful. Oh, that is such good, solid wisdom, Lisa. Yeah, just to, let that chemistry build. And sometimes like, don't always go with that hot arousal. Like there might be something underneath that. So yeah, like what I'm kind of taking from this is cast a broad net, because you're giving yourself more of an opportunity that way.
Yes, but it's based on you honoring yourself though and feeling empowered. Cast that broad net to what you want now. That opens the possibilities, because normally we're so closed into what we think we have to have, which is usually the same failed relationship we just left. And you want to that's why you want to get clear on your new type so that you can see him. Because clients say to me, I would have passed my guy by. I just would never have dated him if I hadn't done this tool, the quality man template, to see who my new type is. And they're much happier than they've ever been as well.
So Lisa, tell us, like, if someone wanted to work with you, or how do they go about doing that? Or what are you offering these days?
So my website is findaqualityman.com. And on there, you can get a free gift, the 5 little known secrets for finding a quality man. Also, you can just look at some success stories. You can just buzz around there. I have a YouTube channel as well. And again, it's findaqualityman.com. And I just love just supporting women, because I think that this is a very difficult thing to do. We weren't necessarily ever thought we would be single at this time in our lives, and we're not feeling our best, even though we are amazing. And women say to me, I just change, it changes me so much to do this work. And they really, really do come into being heart-centered of themselves and men and the whole process of dating. And it's really cool. So
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. It's such a beautiful conversation. I've learned so much, and I know it's going to be such a gift for others that do get to listen to this. I appreciate it.
thank you for asking me to be here. It's so my pleasure. I loved it. Thank you all. Thank you for who are here, who will be here in the future too, to see it. And I hope you get some nuggets and use what resonates with you. And if you need more help, check out my website, and, I've got your back. That's really what it is. Until that guy comes in and has
It is nice to have a sisterhood, right? The coach in your corner through all of this. It's worth its weight in gold. Again, thank you everyone for joining us, whatever time and day it is, and we will see you in our next show. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you.